So first, I wanted to say that we have to start at the beginning when we're going to talk about mental health, and that's what this first one is. What's going on with subconscious thoughts? What powers us as a human being? What actually motivates us to do certain things? And this goes into quite a specific and quite a lot of detail on the unconscious, the mechanics by which we kind of live and breathe and act and do, the way we feel, think, see, hear, and absorb the world. These are very important. And the module is a free module for those of you who just want to see if there's a kind of, if this is something that you would enjoy or something that you would be able to watch or wouldn't mind seeing. And so you can click on that one and you can watch that for free. And then the rest do cost money. I think there is a discount code. We might get that shortly. So in this module, it goes through what is the basic mechanics? What causes me to act, think, and feel the way that I do? And then once we've finished that module, and the modules are all approximately an hour in duration, just under. Some of them are just under an hour. The second one is, psychological development. So we understand the mechanics by which we are actually moving and seeing and through the world, and our decision making and our histories and how much our histories inform the present. As Freud said, we are what we are because we have been what we've been. And T.S. Eliot said it's not the past so much that matters, but it's the pastness in the present. And that first module talks about how much that informs how much of how we think, act, and feel, and see and do in the world today at this moment. And then the second module goes into what does that actually look like? What's actually going on in those stages, in those phases as you're growing up, just after birth, to being a young toddler, and then going into kind of preschool and then early adulthood, kind of being kind of a young person versus a early adult. And that's that second module there on psychological development or psychosocial development goes through all of that. And then the course takes a bit of a turn, because what it does is it starts talking about what can happen when we are growing up that will have implications for later in our life. And that's what the third module is all about. The third module is about what can happen in our lives that can have an effect later, and detrimental in some ways, but also just to fully understand it, not to be pessimistic about it, but to understand that if we have adverse childhood experiences or developmental trauma, or what kind of social learning did we have, all of these things are very important to know, and they're all in that third module there on developmental trauma. Because it's a word that's often bandied about. It's become incredibly popular in pop psychology online. Everyone talks about it. But this shows actual studies in a way that is easy to digest. All of these courses, even all these modules, even though they are just under an hour each, are paced quite slowly. There's a lot of data, a lot of value in them, but they're paced quite slowly, so you can in fact get value from them. And then once we've moved from trauma, we look around at emotional wellness. So here we have mental health and stigma, and this is an important module, and in many ways people should be watching that first. People should be watching that module first. That's the kind of module that is super important to help you understand that mental health has not always been seen in a progressive light. Mental health has often stigmatized individuals, and because of that, people haven't asked for help. So if you are tiptoeing into your own kind of understanding of your need to take care of yourself and your own mental health, that mental health and stigma is a very good one to begin with. And I think you can watch them in any order you want, although the free one for sure is the You Are Possibility. And then we have the module that the module that this entire course was really built around, which is, how does addiction work? Why does addiction even exist? What is its underlying mechanic? And this is important because when we're thinking about treating mental health issues, we need to understand before we treat. There's no point in saying, I have a treatment, and just throw it on something and thinking that's going to work. So we see that in this module, and this is was the gearing, but of course this entire course encompasses so much more than just addiction. In fact, addiction is a very, very small part of it. Addiction is just one area of symptoms that we can get if our lives become in some ways distressful or unmanageable. So this module there with addiction deals with that, and again around an hour. And then it kind of changes gear again, because then it likes to ask some questions around what have the practical implications been, and show you what kind of environments, and also give you tools. A lot of these modules will not just have psychoeducation within them, but they will also absolutely, they will also have skills as well, and I'll get to that in a bit. But in parenting in adult life, what we're saying in that one, and in that module there, is the way you relate to other people today, loved ones, children, parents, siblings, whoever it might be, has a lot to do with parenting. Now, that sounds a lot like the modules above, but it is and it isn't. It goes into more detail around the kind of parenting we received, and maybe some of the reasons why we act, think, and see and feel and relate the way we do. And there's two parts to that as well. And then we go into a very important, and I think very, very well-worn area of society, which is the quest for individuality versus the fear of rejection and abandonment. And this is sometimes referred to, when it is in a system of individuals, or in a family system, or in a relationship system, this is referred to as enmeshment. And the lifelong intrapsychic, and that's why the module comes quite far down in the course, but the lifelong goal to be a healthy, happy human being is to individuate, to become congruent, to become a sense of your own authority, your own agency, to act, do, and think and feel your needs, and to do this in a way that has meaning to you, and creates meaning in the world and outputs. And that deals a lot with that. So if I've been in environments where I've grown up with different kinds of ascribed roles, and I'm getting to ascribed roles after I finish off here, if I have certain ascribed roles growing up, or if I have certain enmeshments with parents, parental systems, like maybe I was a young adult child and I had to look after my parents or my siblings, that module there in the course goes a long way to explore that, and also give you some tools by which you can help manage some of those things that come up if I feel enmeshed, and asks good questions and offers some solutions around that as well. And then the last two are really all about skills. Transactional styles refers to how do we talk to other people? Why do some conversations feel stuck? Why do some conversations that we have feel stuck? Why do I get in with my partner or with my parents or my children, whatever it might be? Why does it feel stuck? And the second to last module on transactional styles goes a long way to explain this, It shows why we use these transacting styles with others. And it is a fascinating module. Of all the modules, it's sometimes the most exciting, because it's on the ground stuff. It shows you in real time how these interactions work and how they can affect us because of the way we interact with others. And then finally, there's actually two skill modules, but I think they're both inside that one, on mental health resilience, which is basically having a way of building into internal resilience, but using skills to do it. So communication skills, journaling, reflection, understanding the flow of, for example, addiction, in a kind of understanding self-inhibition, and also being able to operationalize and use skills to start solving some of these, as Freud calls, the problems of human life and motives.